All right, round number 5. We are going to keep this hand, even though it is not ideal, but I think if a 6-card hand with 4 lands and these 2 spells, I'd probably keep it. The vents add some utility, of course, and the Vault the Archangel. We already have enough mana to activate the Vault, so there you go. If Vault and Vent are good this matchup, then we'll be okay. Opponent is gonna mulligan. It's good for us. Really trying to get that 4-1 here. We'll break out of our little 3-2 slump we've had lately. And I'm gonna go Swamp Thoughtseize. No point in fetching yet. Depending on the deck, we might get a Plains after. Ooh, interesting. So Azusa is a huge part of this deck, but not as huge of a part as Amulet. Interesting choice for this deck. Doggish artifact becomes an artifact creature. Okay. This is basically just like a search engine for an artifact from their sideboard. So they play it, they can basically tutor up 2 artifacts from their sideboard. That's pretty good. I wonder if one of them is an amulet that they want to tutor for, and the other one, who knows? Anyway, we are done here. I think we have to take the amulet and then hope that we draw a good answer for Azusa in the next couple turns. Let's say awkward for our opponent there. I don't know what land I would play if I were them. History is a good draw because it is a nice clock. What does this do? Just gains them 2 life. Alright, well that makes that easy because that's the land I'd want to fetch a basic Plains with. And that's kind of what I wanted to do. So, still need to find some answers here. Because, just playing the history of Analia into Lingering Souls is not going to be enough. Gonna need a little bit more than that. Yep, just gaining life. Okay, so I think card is the only card we know of. Oh man, see here, if these were knights, it'd be very interesting. Whether we wanted to actually like play the finale for 2. I think if they were knights, we would. But they're not. So I'm going to do this. Next turn, we'll see what we draw. Depends, see if I want to attack with Event or Flashback Lingering Souls. Hopefully we get something like hopefully we get a Planeswalker or an Intangible Virtue, because we just have to really increase our clock as much as we can. We might be able to afford to kill Karn, we'll see. I assume they get Amulet. Oh, Mycosynth Lattice? Okay, let's see. I see, so they are turning our artifacts in addition to other types. And then activate abilities of artifacts. Okay, interesting. So it also allows them to have a 6/6. Karn can turn into a 6/6, and I can't activate anything. Which means I can't activate Vault, for example. But I could just kill Karn. And now also the question is, I can attack with Vent, or attack with Vent and play a Vent. I could play Lingering Souls and nothing else. I could play the Finale for 3 with 3 creatures, and then play the Vault. But I won't be able to activate the Vault unless I kill Karn. So the question is, if I attack, so I think I need to kill Karn, because making everything artifacts that I can't activate. I think the only way I'm going to beat a 6/6 potentially is with Vault to the Archangel. If I attack Karn with just 1 knight, the question is, would they choose their Azusa or their Karn? They'd probably let their Karn live. So then the other question here is, do I put the 3 creatures out now, or do I wait the following turn to get a 4th? I think just for mana usage, I'm going to go ahead and play the Finale. And I don't want to play Vault yet, because I don't want them to know that the Vault is coming. I wouldn't mind killing the Azusa, but if I attack Karn with just the 1 knight and then they lose the Azusa, Mycosynth Lattice will be annoying, but I can always attack Karn the following turn. This is until your next turn, so it would be a 6/6. And I can't use Vault until after I kill the Karn. Yeah, this is where any kind of pump spell would have been great, because I could have just not had to decide this. Let's see what they do. I'm gonna, because what I do is I miss out on a few points of damage. Well, maybe that's not enough to matter. Because I think if I attack 1 knight at my opponent, 1 knight at Karn, I'll still have to attack some spirits at Karn in case they do block. That way they can't just like activate it again. I'll just do Karn with both. And my opponent with the spirits. So be it. And then I'm just going to go ahead and do this, get some tokens out. Then if I need to, I can give them lifelink and death touch, obviously, if that matters. This is where an anthem would be good. Don't know that I care to gain life with the Vault. I think just attacking with Vent and Double Teleria West, that's not good for me. Attack with Vent or cast Lingering Souls. Can't do both. Let's attack for now. I think if we get an Anthem, then probably win next turn anyway. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Yeah, I don't know that the Lingering Souls changes the clock at all. And we'll see what they get with Teleria West. Oh, Engineered Explosives, yeah. Yeah, even more reason not to flashback Souls here. I knew they had to have some kind of sweeper. Oh well. Yep. Oh, what's going on here? Ah, so they played their other Teleria West. Yep. Engineered Explosives. Oh my gosh, this is so annoying. Okay. I think we're here finally. And next turn should be able to attack with 2 Shambling Vents. Summoner's Pact, you got it. Okay, didn't have enough. So definitely want Damping Sphere, definitely want Brutality. I guess Disenchant I do if they're going to play this artifact game here. I need the paths for the Titan. Champion does nothing. The question is whether I also want Fatal Push for Azusa. I want all my threats. Discard spells. I think I may as well bring in the Surgicals. Maybe cut the Fatal Pushes. Azusa's annoying, but it's kind of dead outside of that. Bring in a Disenchant. Maybe Brutality's not as good because some of the cards I care about are not instants and sorceries. Let's try that. I think I just want to keep all my threats. I don't want to have too many answers like Fatal Pushes and things at the expense of cutting threats, and I think I want all my discard. Alright, well, Damping Sphere, they're going to have trouble dealing with, other than Engineered Explosives. But I think just on the fact that I have some interaction, the Damping Sphere and a Field of Ruin, I'm keeping the hand, even though on the surface the hand looks terrible. Perfect, so I can take that from them. Okay, and then I have a turn 3 clock. That's good. Interesting here. So if I take the amulet, they have engineered explosives to deal with the damping sphere. But amulet is the whole name of the game with them. I think I do have a really awkward hand. I guess the amulet doesn't do much with the damping sphere out because the lands will just tap for colorless, the bounce lands, and this doesn't do anything else other than the bounce lands. So yeah, as long as they can't deal with the damping sphere, then I think we're okay. I do have a really awkward draw. Awkward combination of lands, I should say. Okay. So go next turn history and then see what happens. Hopefully we can clock him fast enough. Ooh, Thoughtseize is intriguing. I could Field of Ruin something. Wait, I know. Oh, I know 2 of the 3 cards in their hand. I think I just want to get the clock out. I can get a Godless Shrine later if I want to. But next turn, certainly Lingering Souls, Thoughtseize. Potentially Field of Ruin, Thoughtseize. We'll see what our opponent does here. Okay, so they're just gaining life. That's probably really good for me. Karn, sure. Doesn't mean I can't use Field of Ruin until right? I can't use. Oh, no. That's with Mycosynth Lattice. Never mind. So, do I want to use Field of Ruin or anything? Maybe. Let's Thoughtseize first. We'll take a look. So, packed. Explosives. I'll take the explosives. Attack Karn. And maybe I'll Field of Ruin the Gemstone Mine? Or the Vesuva. I guess they can bounce that to their hand and do things later. Definitely taking this. Either way, I can't cast a threat if I Field of Ruin. So maybe I just don't yet. Yeah, because I don't quite know that I care about any of these lands yet. The Vesuva is the big one, but I think it'll just give them another color, so I don't want to do that yet. Their Pact of Negation will be on eventually, but that's not a huge deal. So I think I am going to just do souls, because that's a faster clock first. Aha, I see. Things cost one more because of Damping Sphere. Okay. Well, that makes that decision easy. We'll play the Dreadhorde Invasion. All right. Quick victory there. Our opponent did have a awkward draw there, but there we go. They weren't totally dead yet, but pretty close. All right, so 4-1. Excellent finish with this deck, especially a version that I knew was suboptimal from testing out all these kind of awkward new cards here. But let's talk about it. So I think as far as the new cards, I think it was, I mean, obviously this is just one league, so there's not a ton to take from that, and we only got to play the cards a little bit, but I think Finale of Glory was as expected. It was good when you had a lot of mana, and, you know, kind of still underwhelming as far as modern cards go, but certainly playable. I think it's, you know, if you're looking for a later game mana sink, I think it's a good one to have potentially, just because it scales well. Obviously, you can cast it at 4, 5, or 6, as opposed to playing something like a normal 5 or 6 drop that just sits in your hand until you get to that amount of land. And we had played it one turn, played it for 3 mana because we had other things to do with our mana, and we knew our opponent was just going to make us discard the Finale with Liliana. So being able to at least cash in a 5-drop card for at least 1/2/2 when you know they're just going to discard it from your hand is pretty good. I thought Gideon was good. I don't know that this is the exact shell for him, which is, I think that was consistent with the games we had him. Like when the board was empty and we were top decking, he was a phenomenal top deck. But that's going to be true in a lot of cases. And outside of that, it's just kind of a 4/4 that does things. And we didn't have to pump, we didn't get to the point where he was at enough loyalty that I could use his -6 or that we even needed to. But that's where I see him coming in. It's just kind of board stalled matchups, specifically like things like the War Prison decks that he can just plus and plus and plus and then exile or Ensnaring Bridge or something like that and stay on the board and becomes a threat that way. I think Blast Zone is something I'm going to keep putting one of in my deck. We only saw it a couple times and we did get to put charge counters on it, but I think in the end it didn't quite matter as we ended up winning those games anyway. The question is, if we were under a little bit more pressure, would it have been too slow? That's the thing. And then Dreadhorde Invasion, we saw a little bit of. Obviously, the interesting part is this is modern, and a lot of times, Bitter Blossom, some of the longer games, you'll get a ton of tokens out of it, but some other games, you only get 1 or 2 tokens out of it. So, getting a 1/1 ground versus a 1/1 flying is worse, and then at the second turn, having this be a 2/2 instead of a 2 1/1 flyers is way worse. But it still has some of the same equity as far as like, a lot of times our Bitter Blossoms will just be the token each turn will be chump blocking a Tarmogoyf while we attack with our like 2 Lingering Souls in the air or something like that. So it does have that same chump blocking utility. But the one thing I didn't consider until we were playing with it is that in, creature-less matchups or creature-light matchups, like control matchups, where you're just trying to get in there, the only thing that's a little upside over the Bitter Blossom is that the subsequent tokens, effectively, in the form of like 1/1 counters, have haste when they come out. So if you have your army, turn 3 you get your army, can't attack yet, just like Bitter Blossom. The Bitter Blossom token can't ever attack until turn 4. With the Dreadhorde Invasion, on turn 4, you're attacking with a 2/2 instead of a 1/1, and then your other 1/1 has Summoning Sickness, and kind of so on and so forth. That every turn, the creature that comes out actually comes out with haste and gets to attack immediately in the form of a 1/1 counter on already made army. So it is something interesting. It's good in, like I said, kind of control matchups where they don't have any blockers and you don't need the go wide. The problem then comes with if you have an intangible virtue out, then the math doesn't check out because the Bitter Blossom, even though the token has summoning sickness, when it does start attacking, it can only attack for 2. So it makes up for that previous turn, and then the subsequent turn, it's obviously adding more. So with a pump spell, like a Virtue or a Sword or Gideon Emblem, the math doesn't check out, but it does give the thing haste. So in maybe some sort of black mid-rangey deck that would want Bitter Blossom but doesn't play Intangible Virtue, Dreadhorde Invasion could potentially be like a 5th and a 6th Bitter Blossom if you really wanted it or something like that. So anyway, I had to play it. You know, as part of this video series is trying out cards that people are talking about. Obviously, we didn't get to see a ton of it. Maybe I'll do a little bit more of it in the future, but ultimately, it's just not good enough, which is why I don't think we're gonna play it. And if we do, it'll be more so for fun. So, thank you everybody for watching. Be sure to fill out that poll in the deck tech and let me know what you guys think about future videos. Other than that, we'll be back for our next round of videos sometimes in the next couple weeks. Thank you all.